Of course you can't choose your sexuality. You think people are out here willingly being attracted to men? Have you ever been around a man? Ew.
I mean, she's right. You can't help who you're sexually attracted to. Like, I, for one, find her absolutely repulsive. Not my fault. I can't help who I'm attracted to. And I find women who are so disgracefully shameless about their sexism to be really unattractive. But there's definitely some truth to that idea that you can't force yourself to find somebody attractive. You've probably seen it written in my comment section. Things like you can't negotiate desire. You can't logic a woman into liking you. If you want women to like you, then you have to be attractive. She just has to feel it in her emotions, in her biology. Yes, I'm attracted to this man. But you know what? Even that, it's not enough. You can't just be attractive. You have to be something else as well. You have to be lovable. Without being lovable, you're not going to be able to make relationships last, and you're going to end up lonely. I know we talk about loneliness as this male epidemic for men who can't make themselves attractive to women. You know, they can't get a foot in the door. They can't get women to go out on dates with them. And yeah, those men are lonely. But the other demographic of men who are lonely are men who are attractive to women but are not lovable. It's a smaller demographic for sure, but maybe some guys in my audience can relate to this. Like, yes, I can make women attracted to me, I can make them sleep with me, but I don't seem to be able to make a woman fall in love with me. That's what I'm going to talk about in this video. My fundamental message is that being attractive is not enough. You need to go further. You need to go deeper. It's one of the reasons why I teach relationship skills. It's one of the things that I think makes my channel a little bit different, because it seems as though the manosphere and pickup artist stuff, it's just so stuck on the initial stages of attraction. And I guess that makes sense to a certain degree. Like when I break down the male audience on the internet for information about women, I kind of think of it that there's a big demographic of men who are not interested in dating. They're just interested in complaining about the dating market and about female psychology. And there are some legitimate complaints, but you know, it's not where I'm at. I'm more optimistic than that. I'm always trying to help. Then you've got this other demographic of men who are interested in sleeping with women. You know, they're basically looking this kind of information up out of their own horniness. Like, God, I just need women to find me desirable. I just need to relieve myself of some of this biological urges that just seems to be choking up my body. And while a lot of my content is designed to kind of help those guys, like I want men to be attractive to women, I can never just leave it there, because I know that just sleeping with women isn't actually going to make you happy. And I'm not going to find my work satisfying unless I actually feel like I'm giving you information that is going to make you genuinely, sincerely happy. So that's why I go beyond just tips on flirting and dating. I go right into the deeper stuff of relationship skills. Admittedly, I do put most of that stuff on Patreon, but I still cover it. The reason it goes on Patreon is because, you know, so much of the market is not really interested in the deeper stuff. And so the YouTube algorithm just doesn't push it out. And maybe my channel is never going to be like the big, massive channel because of that. But I think there's a certain amount of satisfaction in actually speaking to that rare demographic of men who are greedy enough to say, no, whatever the full expression of male happiness inside relationships with women is, I want that. I'm shooting for that. And if that describes you, then I'm so glad that you've clicked on this video, because this is such an important topic to cover. Because some guys, they think that all they need in order to fix this issue, you know, my dating life's not going well, I'm lonely, is all I need is to become attractive. But I'm telling you, being attractive is not enough. It's only going to get you through the first couple of months of dating at best. If you're attractive but not lovable, a high quality woman might entertain you for about a week. A medium quality woman, you might have a couple of months. And with a really trashy, low quality woman, you might get a couple of years. That's as far as being attractive is going to get you. But I'm telling you, quality women need more. They need you to be lovable, which is a very different thing. But I don't want you to overcorrect and be like, oh, all I need to do is be lovable. No, let me just make this absolutely clear. Being attractive is non-negotiable. If you're not attractive, you will get nowhere. It has to come first. If you are not attractive, women won't notice you. A lot of nice guys, they try this sexual strategy of skipping the being attractive phase. They just go straight to being lovable. So what I'm talking about is like guys who are in the friend zone, guys who orbit around this girl. They try and be her best friend. They try and be her emotional support, her confidant. You know, they're not interested in evoking raw sexual energy from her, flirting with her, teasing with her. No, they're trying to be like the best friend, trying to be all sweet and sort of lovable. And they're hoping that that's going to be enough to get them into a romantic relationship. I just need to be lovable. I'm telling you, It's not going to work. Attractiveness is non-negotiable. Love without attraction is just a bite without teeth. It's like drinking non-alcoholic beer. No matter how much you take, it's never really going to get you drunk. So what actually makes a man attractive? Well, I've covered this in previous videos. I'm going to put a link to one I made called 10 qualities that women never admit that they actually want, but you generally know the list. You know, it helps if you're tall, if you're good looking, if you're successful, if you're influential, if you're masculine. You got to be masculine, got to be confident, got to have good game. All of those qualities are what they call in evolutionary science fitness indicators. You know, they signal to the woman that you have good genes, and that incentivizes her to come and sleep with you because she wants to have your babies. It is your attractiveness, not your lovability, that evokes the sexual response inside women. That's why when you find a man who's really attractive but not lovable, he's not going to have any difficulty getting women to sleep with him. Women will date those kinds of men, they'll sleep with those kinds of men, but they're not going to commit into a deeper relationship. In biological terms, it's almost as though she's saying, you don't have enough depth to stay with me in the long term. I trust your genetic quality, and so I'll have your children, but I wouldn't trust you to raise them. I'm going to find a guy who's more lovable than you are to do that job. And so now the question, what makes a man lovable? Well, hopefully there's no surprises on this list, but if he's got depth, if he's got personality, good moral character, good communication skills, he's good at conflict resolution, he has emotional self-awareness and emotional empathy, he can actually talk to her, relate to what she's going through, support her at a deep level. I'd even say for a man to be truly lovable, he needs to have a certain degree of femininity, at least be aware of that part of himself, and then be able to communicate from that place when appropriate. All of those qualities that make you lovable are absolutely essential for the pair bonding process to actually work. You can't just keep flirting with a girl throughout your entire relationship, pretending like it's the first night that you've met her. You can't just keep teasing her and playing silly games like, yeah, that worked for a little while, that made you attractive, but unless you're lovable, unless you've got some depth, you're not going to go any further with her. But here's the other mistake that I see lots and lots of men making, is that they wrongly assume that the attraction phase exists only at the start of the relationship and then it gets replaced by being lovable. No, wrong. Get that concept out of your head. That's fucking toxic and it's going to ruin your chances with women. It's not attractiveness or lovability. It's both. If you're attractive but not lovable, then she's just going to use you for a quick fling, then get bored of you, dump you for the next Chad. And if you're lovable but not attractive, then you're not going to be able to keep her loyal. She's going to get bored in the marriage. She's potentially going to cheat on you because you're no longer this exciting masculine man that sexually excites her. You're like her best friend, and that's not what she's looking for. Or at least that's not what she's exclusively looking for. You need both. If you had to place them in a hierarchy, like which one is more important, I would probably make the case that being attractive is more important because that at least gets your foot in the door. And that's kind of non-negotiable. You know, how many women have you heard say things like, wow, he was really sweet and we get on really well and he's really kind to me, but there's just something that's lacking. You know what that something is? It's attractiveness. He just fundamentally isn't masculine enough to sexually excite her. It's a non-negotiable. You've got to have it. But don't be so lazy or complacent in thinking that that's all there is. Women need more than that. You should want more than that. Like, are you really satisfied having a relationship with a woman who all she wants from you is to be attractive? You should be greedier than that. You should be more ambitious for your relationship life. You should want to explore the absolute depth of her psychology. Just reach into her mind and find out all of the amazing, incredible feminine things that make her a unique individual that's sharing this incredible experience of existence with you. You should want that. Love, depth, pair bonding, that's the key to unlocking this stuff, and you're not going to be able to do it if you're a two-dimensional character. I was inspired to make this video primarily because a guy reached out to me on Hey Hero, which is the website where I give advice. I make personalized videos for people, and he's having lots of failures in his relationships, and he keeps wrongfully assuming that's because he's not attractive enough, and he's misdiagnosed the problem. He has no issue getting dates. He has no issues getting women into the first parts of the relationship, but at some point, he just stops. He can't go any further. He can't share of himself. He loses interest in the girl beyond her superficial, like bodily appearance. And of course, she gets bored. She moves on to a different man. His issue isn't that he isn't attractive enough, it's that he's not lovable enough. If that in any way sounds like you're listening to this and you're thinking, I have some work to do on myself in terms of relationship skills, in terms of making myself more lovable, then I really recommend coming over and joining me on Patreon, because that's where I put a lot more of the in-depth stuff. Like my latest video is a really interesting one. It's on the topic of, should you ever consider just pretending to be a bad boy in order to get a woman to notice you and then shift gears once you're in a relationship? That topic isn't really punchy or sexy enough for the YouTube algorithm, but the content is really, really important. And so if you want to master these skills, please come over to Patreon, check out what's on offer. If you've got $5 lying around, it's worth the experiment. I've got hundreds of exclusive videos, a huge catalog on every kind of topic. Come check it out. We've got an amazing community. I'd love to see you over there.